When using a fisheye lens, you need to pay attention to some tips. 1. Pay attention to the shooting distance. Shooting at a close distance can make the distortion effect of the fisheye lens more obvious. The closer you shoot, the more obvious the effect. If you only shoot at a normal distance, you can't get that exaggerated distortion effect. For general portrait photography, the closer the distance is under the fisheye lens, the more obvious the big-headed dog effect. In addition to shooting portraits or animals, this technique can also be applied to photos with still life as the main subject, which can increase the fun. 2. Pay attention to keeping the level. Especially when shooting scenery, pay attention to keeping the level, because the image taken by the fisheye lens will be distorted, which is also a challenge for your naked eye judgment, and you need to pay more attention. If you are not in a horizontal state when shooting, the imbalance effect of the photo will be very obvious. In addition, when using a fisheye lens to shoot high-rise buildings, looking up is a common shooting technique. Using looking up can capture the entire building in the frame, making the picture more spectacular. 3. Pay attention to highlighting the subject. The center of the fisheye lens is the brightest and clearest part of the photo. If you want to highlight the fisheye effect, you should try to place the subject in the center of the lens. When shooting, you should try to highlight the subject and try to avoid too many subjects at the same time. If too many things converge in the lens, the photos taken will be dazzling, the subject will be unclear, and the photo will lose focus. In addition, because the fisheye lens can deform the subject, especially when shooting portraits, you can guide the other party to pose some special movements to make the effect more exaggerated. 4. Pay attention to avoid deformation. Because of deformation, the image on both sides will be distorted when shooting with a fisheye lens. If you are shooting a portrait, the protagonist should be placed in the middle of the lens as much as possible, and should not be placed on the side, otherwise it will not look like a human shape. Therefore, when shooting with a fisheye lens, the subject should be placed in the center of the photo, otherwise it is easy to be deformed. For example, if the protagonist is placed on both sides of the picture, their body will become disproportionate. 5. Pay attention to the foreground and background. The fisheye lens can capture a large range of scenes in the foreground and background of the picture, so pay attention to the balance between the two when composing. When shooting, try to place interesting foreground elements in the front of the picture, while making sure that the background elements are also attractive enough. 6. Pay attention to post-processing. The curvature and distortion effects of fisheye lenses may sometimes need to be corrected through post-processing. Using some image processing software, you can adjust the distortion or crop the photos to make the pictures you take achieve a more ideal effect.